about today's session. So welcome everyone to today's session. We're going to talk about, I know last week I introduced everything, but this week we're going to tap into the first 3 essential tactics that you want to implement when times get rough, right? So when the market begins to shift, remember we're looking at this book here. We're going through this book by Gary Keller, Shift. When the market begins to shift, there are some key things that you want to accomplish, and we're going to talk about those first 3 tactics today. Also, we're going to talk about how Brooks and Davis feels about respect and family as we spend our 60 minutes in the core. All right. We got a wonderful property in the Loop we're going to be looking at. Actually, I'm doing an event there today, showcase if you want to come by. Some special coaching sessions that we host at Brooks and Davis. We're going to talk about those as well as some other upcoming events that we're doing. So we have a jam-packed show today. If you're looking at it, now if you're on board with us now, as you all know, you can talk. And, I encourage you to talk, right? We're on this new Easy Talks platform, so it's easier for us to navigate and manipulate the dashboard. So if I'm saying something that you're agreeing with or you have a question around, if I am saying something that you disagree with, let's go ahead and bring it out because I think this is a great forum and a great platform for us to utilize in doing that. Let me move my screen around a little bit. All right, so we want to do that. Now, if you're checking us out on our YouTube page, you're looking at a previous episode, if you hear something that I have to say and you want to maybe talk more about how we can coach, our biggest thing is one-on-one coaching, putting you in the right position to be successful in real estate. And if you want to hear a little bit more about that, then you can call this number behind me. Also, I'll be showing a link that you can go to schedule those appointments as well. It's our Bitly link. So let's get it squared away. Now, the title for today's session is what do you do when the real estate market shifts? So we're going to be talking about what are some specific actions that you can be taking, that you need to take as the market is shifting to better position yourself to survive and to thrive on the other side market shift. All right. Now, the quote that I had, I actually bought this from Alonzo Mourning. So if you're a basketball fan, NBA fan, if you're familiar with Alonzo Mourning, professional basketball, the team that he played for kind of escapes me, but they used to call him so. So the quote he said was, "Tough times don't last, but tough people do." All right. I think on point as we are talking about tough times, real estate times, as we're going into the last quarter of the year, if we're going into a possible shifting market, going for the buyer's market, that we understand that if the market gets tough, then you got to get tough along with it. Like, you can't the direction and become weak when the market has toughened up on it. It's extremely important that we remember that. So I appreciate Alonzo Mourning for sharing that quote with us. Tough times don't last, because the reality is that it doesn't. It's just a cycle. Tough times don't last, but all right. Now, I've been forgetting to do this lately, but I need to do a better job of it. One of the things that we do offer, so right now we see that we have some agents that are taking advantage of is that we do offer an hour CE credit for Brooks and Davis agents that log on to our sessions every week. Since it was something that I was passionate about and I was doing anyway, I felt like, why not put our agents in a position where they can capitalize when it's time to renew that license? So simple guidelines: must be logged in at the time the session begins, must show me your identification so I know who you are, must be able to see you the entire time, must stay online the entire time. Get that full hour credit. Do those 4 simple things, and guess what? You get that good CE credit when it's time to renew that license. All right. So now, want to spend some time in our moment in core. The one to look at today is treat and respect one another like family. Now, if you're not familiar with what our core, when I say moment in core, I'm talking about our core ideology. So Brooks and Davis has an ideology that we're comprised of. Involves a big, hairy, audacious goal, which is what we talked about last week. We have a purpose, and then we have 5 values that we as an organization, we as agent and affiliate members of the organization build what we do around. Well, the one we're going to look at today is treat and respect one another like family, right? So that's one of our core values. It's extremely important. I think it's a great one. We're going into this holiday season to understand that, look, yes, we are colleagues. The reason why I wanted to start doing these takeovers, if you weren't able to make it to the one that we did last Friday, we had a blast. Like we need to spend more time. Nigga, look at Margaret. Yeah, Margaret.
I got to tell you about that.
See that you made it. You made it safe and sound. But we had a phenomenal time last Friday. But the reason I want to do that more is because you need to spend time with your family, right? Just like it's important that Margaret said there's a story there. Okay, but anyway, just like it's important to spend time with my family at home, and it's important for you all to spend time with your family, it's also important to spend time with the Brooks and Davis family. Like, we're going to call ourselves a family, then we need to treat each other like a family. It starts with me. That's why I feel like we need to be spending more time together. So with these takeovers, we're going to be doing them 2 to 4 times a month, right? We need to give Letitia a reason to come down here. We got to do some stuff. So we are doing one this week, another one this week. I'm going to tell you guys a little later. But the point of it is that we're moving in a direction to where we're going to exemplify our core value of treating and respecting one another like family. That's what we're doing. All right? So Letitia, we're going to get you down here, all right? We're going to get her down here to H-Town. All right. That being said, you know what? I was supposed to show y'all while I was saying all that, I was supposed to be the 5 values. So these are our 5 values of our core ideology. If you had never seen them before, and today we're talking about treat and respect one another like family. All righty. So now let's talk about some work. What kind of work production did we do this week? We have a couple of, oh, you know what? That's not the right one. Woo, Michael tripping today. All right, so I'm just going to talk while I fix this. But we want to congratulate some people for adding production to the board. If you're not familiar with our production board and how it works, well, every week we look at where we are production-wise as far as our. So who has properties on who has contracts on the board, who's closed out contracts, and it dictates and determines who are our top 5 agents for that particular week. So right now, as you can see, as far as our production, we're a little 2.3 million is where we are right now, right? Our graph, as you can see, we go up to 5 shooting for. I want to get to the point to where we're comfortably managing $5 million worth of production at any given time. All right. As you can see, we got 2 new properties that's been added on the board. So congratulations, Margaret, for your production that you've added, which has, as you can see, catapulted her to the #1 spot for the week. So Mr. B.J. Hawkins held that spot. He was holding everybody up. Just like that, 2 new contracts, and boom, it gets her to the top. So congratulations, Margaret, for being the #1 producing agent for this week. And as you can see, we take a look at total production, how much we have. We're also taking a look at how much money we have in the bucket, right? So it's always good to see what's in your pipeline, see what revenue is coming down the pipeline. But again, congratulations, Margaret, BJ. Now, you know we have the former First Lady on here. The reason being is because somebody has still not said who they are that has this property drive under contract. All right, but at some point they're gonna show their face when it's time to get their check. All right, and then we have Brina and LaQuanta Davis. So congratulations everyone for being a part of the top 5 for this week. Congratulations, Margaret. All righty, so here we go. Now, the thing that we want to look at is what we typically do. We do our listing showcase, and the property that we're going to look at is actually a property that I'm actually doing an event in. I'm actually doing an event today. All right, so let me make this small. Here we go. All right, so I'm actually doing an event here. It's at our property at 3849 Rosedale. It is inside of the Loop, close to University of Houston, close to the medical. Hold on, y'all, bear with me. What I pulled up was the actual event link. Can't tell me my caps lock was on. All right. See, and that's why I tell you, I really encourage y'all to create these little hyperlinks that you can send out to people real quick. See how I just put it in there, and boom, it takes them up information about the property. So this is our property on Rosedale. I'm actually doing an event. I'm gonna tell you about that a little later, about a showcase at one of our upcoming events, which is today at 3:30 and 6:30. It's going to be at this particular property. It's a little less than 2,000 square feet. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. The owner of the property went and did a phenomenal job as far as remodeling it. Took it down to the studs and put all new everything in the property. It does qualify for our right to purchase program. You can get owner financing, cash, FHA, VA, or conventional financing goes with this particular property. If you can see, we have over 35 pictures that just shows multiple angles. So you can see the phenomenal work. We do have it staged, but you can see the work that was done as far as we have. Right? That's the kitchen. That's marble. Yes, that is marble countertops. But yes, it's they did a phenomenal job as far as remodeling this home. There's bedrooms. There's another bedroom. That's the master suite. And as you can see, the master suite entrance into the back through the master suite. They have French doors that takes you through the back. Here's the bathroom. Again, it has marble in the bathroom as well. French doors into the bathroom. That's the back patio. So you can see the door from the master to the back patio. And there's a separate door right there from the kitchen. And then the garage is that's another look. So that's that door from the kitchen. All right, and that's the garage. All right, and that's the front. So it's a great video. I mean, it's a great property. Video. Let's put it back here. So we got to figure out what's going on with that. But there is a video. We'll fix that today. And then, as you can see, it talks about it being complete, total. You know, everything redone, luxury home, fire connected. So, you guys help me sell this property. Like I said, it does qualify for a purchase program where it'll allow individuals to lease it and give them up to 3 years to where they can purchase the property. 3849 Rosedale is inside the Loop, close to University of Houston. It's close to the medical center, 288. You know, all the major thoroughfares, 610. So if anybody that wants to be in that district, you have a client that wants to be in that district, let them know about this property and help me get it sold. Matter of fact, if you want to, like I said, I'm having an event there, a showcase today at the property. If you have a client, you want to stop by, come on and I give you a personal tour of the property. I'm going to be there at 3:30 and at 6:30 to do those things. All right? So that's our property. All right, so now let's talk about some proprietary programming, right? So one of the things that we pride ourselves at Brooks and Davis is that we pride ourselves on always offering value. We're always coming from a place of value. So, you know, I always show mural, and I'm adding to this thing daily. Like it should be overwhelming, confusing, all the stuff that you see, because we're constantly piling things on this mural to give a visual of what's important to us and what we offer. Well, the thing today that I want to highlight is our GAT meetings, right? Again, we're all about coaching, one-on-one, right? And we're putting things in place to where we can offer more of that one-on-one hand-holding guidance to members of our family. One of the things that we just recently added is that we're actually taking it a step further from just doing the one-on-one coaching with our agents, but actually doing one-on-one coaching with our affiliate members to help break through whatever barriers or challenges that they're having as far as taking or passing the exam, right? So we're really serious about this whole coaching piece. Now, what I'm showing you here is when we do our GAT meetings, and the GAT meeting is a part of the initial stages of when a person joins Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm. So we first do an orientation, right? And then we get together and we spend about an hour to just make sure that we're placing the person on track from a practical standpoint to be successful. And what I'm showing you here is the success progression checklist. This is the list that we use to ensure that we're putting people on a proper trajectory that works best for them. So it all starts with the GAT meeting. One thing that I'm going to begin incorporating into the GAT meeting is DISC profiles, right? Because, you know, I've said this a lot lately. If there's a particular destination that you're trying to go, say it's California, you're trying to go to California, well, there are multiple routes to California, and there are multiple vehicles that you can use to go to California. But which one that you decide to go with, hey, the kind of person that you are plays a part in that, right? Because guess what? If I'm afraid of flying, then taking a plane ain't the best route or the best vehicle that I should use to go to California. If I get car sick, then driving 24 hours from Houston to California ain't the best way, even though the destination is the same for everybody. That's not the best route for me to take. And guess what? If I get car sick, the time for me to find out that I get car sick is not while I'm in the car on the way to California. I should have knew that thing prior to getting in the car. So that's what the DISC profile assessments do for us, is that before we begin the journey to the destination that you're trying to achieve, who you are as an individual, why you do what you do, why you behave, why you act or don't act in certain circumstances is extremely important. So that right there is now is going to be a part of when we do our GAT meetings, our initial one-on-ones. Okay? Other things that we look at is that, look, there are certain tools that you need to have when you start this business. You know, it is going to require some money. You're going to have some money to purchase things that are essential when doing real estate. You know, some of those things are your super key. You got to get your super key. You got to pay your HAR membership. You have to, you know, sign up for the MLS. Like, these are essential tools that you're going to need. You need to attend different classes about zip forms, classes about matrix, so you can get a better understanding of how to use the tool and the resources. Well, through our GAT meeting, you know, all of those things are identified here, utilizing this checklist to make sure that we hit every single point and every single area of you being on the right track. All right. So now what also is up here, and remember I told you I was going to show you the link a little later where people can go to set appointments. Well, it's the same link for everybody. All right. And we go to this link. There are different kind of appointments that a person can set through this link. If you're already an agent or an affiliate member of Brooks and Davis, then you can schedule an in-person or an online coaching session. So the 30-minute coaching sessions that we set up, they can be scheduled through this link. Now, if you're not a member of Brooks and Davis and you want to hear more about what we have to offer, you want to schedule a company introduction with us, well, that also can be done utilizing the link. And look, I want to schedule an introduction with you. I want to expose to you the great things that we're doing at Brooks & Davis to see if you'll be a fit for what we have going on. I'm looking to get to 101 sales agents by February. And however many company introductions that it takes, whether online, whether in person, I'm down for it. So this is where you can go if you're interested to schedule that as well. And then if we need to do generic meetings, like I sometimes have to do generic staff meetings or meetings with individuals, they can go. But it's mainly utilized for my agent members and my affiliates and prospective individuals that are looking at joining our firm. So I wanted to show that as well. That was just a little snapshot of it. This is the actual link that you're going to go. When you go to it, what it's going to pull up for you, what you're going to see. This is the actual link. And then as you can see, you can book these 3 different appointments. And like I said, either in person or online. It gives you details about each meeting. And then say if you want to do in person, you click on that link. And then it's going to give you the available slots that you can do that meeting with me. So like you can see today, the next available slot is going to be Thursday, 3:30 to 4. So it's a great resource and a great tool to access. And I highly want you to take advantage of our GAP meeting, which is a part of our proprietary programming. Take advantage of that to ensure. See, we're here about ensuring that you're successful. So to ensure that you're successful in real estate. All right, we got some upcoming events coming up. I'm going to go through them real quick, and then we're going to get into the mix of our training for today. So I showcased you Rosedale, 3849 Rosedale. I am going to be there today hosting this event. I told you guys about it last week, but today is the day. So I'm going to be doing personal tours of the listing. The listing falls within our recruiting vicinity. We have a 10-mile radius that we've identified around our office where we're looking for those individuals to add to our team. So this listing does fall within those boundaries. So I'm going to be doing a personal tour of the property. Also, I'm going to be speaking with agents. I'm going to be talking to people in person about the one-on-one coaching that we offer. That is unique to Brooks & Davis Real Estate Firm. I'm going to be answering questions that people may have around it, but the idea really is to highlight that feature within our company so we can be clear on, or people can be clear on the things that we have that can be of benefit to them. So I'm going to be there at 2 different times. I'm going to be there and only for an hour. So I'm going to be there from 3:30 to 4:30, right? And I'm also going to be there from 6:30 to 7:30. Now, you know, we had a couple of bottles of wine in the office, so I'm going to swing by, get some ice, have some glasses. So, you know, I think it's good to, you know, converse and commune over a nice drink. So come by, get your glass of wine, talk to me, tour the property, and, you know, get these questions answered. So that event is there. Again, if you have a client that's interested in being in that property, come by, come see the inside of it. Or, again, if you're looking at this at a later time, I'll be there today. And we've reached out to a number of individuals and personally invited them to come to the event. So we'll probably have a nice turnout in between those 2 hours that I'm going to be there. So we have that coming up. We also have, this is going to be our takeover for this week. If you're not familiar with the Brooks & Davis takeover, 2 to 4 times a month, I want us to just get together. It doesn't have to be anything real complicated. It's pretty much about us saying, hey, we're going to be here and we're going to come take this event over. So come out, agent members, affiliate members, let's come out and let's show up in big numbers for a particular event. So for this Saturday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., this is going to be at a Perry Homes model home in Pearland. Larry is doing a vision board breakfast. So there'll be breakfast, gift cards, goodie bags, all that stuff. So what it's doing is it's preparing you to take hold of 2020. Right? And I think this is a great event for you to get clarity on where it is, on what that destination is. You get clarity on that destination of what you want, what that goal is, and then you let us coach you and guide you to being able to break through whatever barriers you may have that's impeding you from getting there, right? That's the whole idea and the whole reason that people should have coaches. So our takeover is going to be this Saturday, Larry's Vision Board breakfast this Saturday, November 9th. All right, so hope you can make it, because these takeovers, if it's going to be anything like it was on Friday, then we should have a funky good time. All right, so I encourage you to come out. All right, so now let's go ahead and jump into our training for today. All right, now just as a reminder, this is the book. I encourage you to get the book. Get the book, read the book, because I'm not going verbatim, right? I'm just giving you the things that jumped out to me, the things that I can articulate on to put you in a stronger position to take advantage. But this is the book Shift by Gary Keller. That is the founder of Keller Williams, and this is where these excerpts are coming from. All right, so now what we're talking about today, I'm looking at about the session today is going to cover about 28 pages in the book. All right. And then, man, Letitia picked the book up this weekend. That's what I'm talking about. Get the book. All right. The 28 page that we're going to be jumping through today, it starts out with the 12 tactics for tough times. So Mr. Keller says that there are 12 tactics that when a market shifts that you need to employ, right? And he lists them in the book. These are the 12 tactics, right? So now, as we continue to go through our next 8 sessions, because this is the second session, so our next 8 sessions, we're going to eventually look at all 12 of these tactics. We're going to talk about all 12 of these tactics, right? But there are 3 of them that we're going to talk about today, which is Get Real, Get Right, where it talks about mindset and action, remargin your business. That talks about expense management, and do more with less. That talks about leverage. So those are the three of the 12 tactics that we're going to dive into on today. But there's all 12 of them right there, so you can see where we're going in our time together. All right, so let's talk about the first one. Get real, get right-minded. Get real, get right mindset, and take action. Okay? So the first tactic that Gary talks about is, when a market shifts, there's only one thing to do. And that one thing to do when the market shifts is that you too must shift. All right. So now we're talking about mindset, right? So now what he's saying is that what must shift is you must make a mental shift, and you must shift your action on now what you're finna do during this shift. Now, guess what? I've experienced a shift. The market shifted in 2007. And let me tell you, and it took me 2 years to realize that the market has shifted. So you can imagine what those 2 years look like. I continued to do the same thing I had been doing to try to achieve these results, but didn't get the results and was confused about it. Well, guess why? Because when the market shifted, I didn't shift. So I mentally didn't shift. I didn't realize I wasn't even aware that the market had shifted. So that's the first thing. And then because I wasn't aware that the market had shifted, guess what else happened? I didn't change the action and the things that I started to do. So with that being the case, what Gary talks about is that to survive, and like I said, I have full experience with this, you must first make the mental shift to run towards what you most want and avoid the temptation of running away from you most fear. That's extremely important, because when the money stops coming in, right, when the revenue stops flowing, well, you get into survival mode. You get into those basic fundamentals of the human, which is fear and flight. Well, you got to fight through that and make sure that you run towards what you want. But guess what? What you want may be scary. There may be some boundaries in front. There may be some thorns or some knives or something that's wanting you to run away. But you got to avoid the temptation to do that when the market shifts, because it's not going to work out for you. What he says is you can't control the market, but you can control your outlook and your response to the market. That's true. The market is going to do what it's going to do, right? One of the quotes that I heard was about the Pacific Ocean. You can't stop I can't go to the coast of California and look at the Pacific Ocean and tell myself, you know what, I'm going to stop the ocean from coming on tide. You can't do that, right? You cannot stop the ocean. But guess what? You can surf it. You get your surfboard, you can go out there and surf the ocean. That's how it is with the market. You can't stop it. You can't control it. You can't predict when the market's going to go up or when the market's going to go down. You can't predict it. But what you can do is you can become so familiar with the cycle of the market that you can navigate it. And that's what he's talking about here, is that you can't control what it does, but you can control how you respond, how you navigate it, how you surf the market. He says you need to remain resolute and know that while everyone won't succeed, that's true. Everyone will not succeed in the shift. Some people will, and anyone can. So you just tell yourself mentally, I'm going to be one of those ones that succeed during these tough times. I'm going to get to the other side. I was having a meeting with a prospective agent yesterday, and one of the questions she asked me was, how did I make it through the recession? And what I told her was, because I already told y'all today, I didn't even know it was a shift. I wasn't doing the necessary things. I was struggling financially. But the way that I made it was that I was damn sure that I was not going to fail. I was convinced. I was certain, sheer willpower that I was going to make it, right? So it was all about being resolute, and that's what got me through, until I was able to figure out what happened and make the mental shift and then start shifting my activities. Then it all started coming together. All right. He says this is not just a short-term attitude. You must adopt. It's a lifelong posture. This being resolute about you can do it as you begin to embark on it. This journey. All right. So that's the mental aspect of things that he speaks about in the book. The next shift that you have to make, once you make that mental shift, the next shift you have to make is an action shift, meaning you have to shift the things that you do. He says the question in the shift is, what do I do right now? And the way it should be asked is not necessarily what should you do right now. It's what must be done, or what should be done, and what must be done now. I'm gonna say that again. The first question is not what do I do right now. It's what must be done right. What are the things that I must do right, be perfect at, and what are those things that should be done now? Because guess what? It's two different things, right? There are going to be things that during a shift, during tough times, that you have to be spot on with. One of them is customer service. How you answer the phone, how you treat your clients. Like, you have to do that right, if you're especially in a shift, because you're not going to get many opportunities, right? And then the other question is, well, what needs to be done now? Now, there are going to be some things that don't necessarily need to be done at this particular moment. You can push those back. And when we start talking about remargining your business and expense management, you can push those things back, and you need to focus on what are the priorities that you need to be, only the basics, what you need to be focused on. So both of those things. Now, the answer to that question becomes your focus and yours alone. So once you ask the question, what needs to be done right, you ask the question, what needs to be done now, moving forward, especially in tough times, that should be your only focus on answering those questions and implementing that. Okay? Now, one of the things that I didn't understand, that Gary says that you must understand while going through a shift, is that what worked yesterday probably won't work today. For an entire year in 2007, I did everything that I did in 2006 and expected the same results, but didn't get them. And the reason I didn't get the same results was because the market shifted. So you got to understand what worked yesterday probably won't work today. And what matters now probably didn't then. When the market shifts, you need new strategies. New strategies are required and new actions are critical. So it's got to be new. So when you start seeing less things on the board, you're getting less contracts on the pending board. I'm calling your name less as far as being in the top 5, right? You got less people calling you on the phone. Then you need to start thinking, maybe I need to implement some new strategies and get some new actions. And guess what? During a shift, you don't have a lot of time to dwell on that. All right. Now, in a shifting market, there's little room for mistake. Okay, the margin for error is very thin. Why is the margin for error very thin? Because guess what does not happen in the shifting market? Your bill collectors or your bills need to be paid, right? So your revenue may go down, the amount of money, the amount of income that you generate may go down, but that phone bill, that mortgage, that light bill, that car note, they don't care that it's a shift. They still gonna need to get paid. So there's little room for you to miscalculate and allow the lack of income to exist too long, because if not, you're going to do what I saw a lot of people do back in 2007, 2008, 2009, was go get a job, get completely out the business. So there's little room for mistake. It says you must be focused on the right tasks and you must execute them well. Efficiency and effectiveness are essential contributors to your bottom line. So you must be focused on efficiency and effectiveness. Efficiency is doing the right things right, and effectiveness is doing the right things. Right? I'm going to say that again. Efficiency is doing the right things the right way, and effectiveness is doing the right things. Right? A lot of times we can get tripped up on doing some things the right way, the things that need to be done, but they're not the right things that we need to be doing. And that's where people get really tripped up in a shift, is that they're busy. It's about being busy. It's about moving. It's about moving. It's about moving, but you're not doing the right stuff that's leading you to be successful and thrive during a changing market. So you got to work smarter, not harder, or you got to work harder in the smart things. It says research shows, this is what Gary tells us, research shows that the 2 actions real estate agents must take personal ownership of are lead generation and lead conversion, right? So those are 2 key areas that in any shift, what you have to ramp up is your lead generation and your lead conversion, how you're generating leads, and then having an emphasis or a focus on, are you able to effectively convert them through, and you all are familiar with our Realtor Success Funnel, are you able to convert them through the funnel to get through all the stages of it? All right, so that was the first tactic that we went through. That was get real. All right, so that was the first tactic, get real, get right, mindset and action. All right. So now we're going to go through remargin your business, and this is all about expenses. All right? Now, this can be one of those tactics that you don't just have to limit to when you're in a shifted market. It is one of those, and I'm not going to spend. I'm going to kind of fly through it because we're running out of time. But when you go to remargin your business expense management, the thing that can get you back to profitability the fastest is cost cutting. When markets shift and your income starts to decrease, then you need to be paying attention to where your money's going, right? I myself had a misunderstanding of what money management or what money management was. I felt like, well, as long as I didn't spend all of my money, like when I made money, I put money and I saved it, well, I should be good. And what I realized was that if you're not managing your expenses, then at some point you're going to spend that savings, right? So it's not a matter of when or if, it's a matter of when, if you're not paying attention to your expenses. So that's what he's talking about here, is pay attention to what you're spending your money on. It says the number 1 detriment of thriving is lead generation, but the number 1 detriment of surviving is expense management, right? So if you're going to thrive, it's about lead generation. But you can generate whoever knows how many leads, a countless number of leads you can generate. But if you're going to survive, if you're not watching where the money's going, then once it dries up, it dries up. Now he says he can't overemphasize the importance of always working from a position of profitability. So, you know, profitability for us is extremely important. It's not about how much money you make. It's about how much money you keep. See, revenue is how much money you make. Profitability is how much money you keep. And profitability is about expense management. Now, to generate revenue, you generate leads. To make a profit, you manage expenses, right? So you're going to hear a common thread, and it's even more imperative when going through a shifting market, because remember, you're not going to get many opportunities in a shifting market. So you don't have the luxury to just blow your money. You may not have another opportunity to replenish that money as soon as you think. Now, a good market, you ain't got to worry about that because it keeps coming. But when the market slows down, you want to make sure that you haven't nurtured those bad habits. All right. Now it says when the market shifts, you must create a budget that matches your revenue. All right. When the market is shifting, you got to be smart. You see that the income is slowing down. You got to start looking at the basics. What are the essentials that I need to keep? Now it says always think financially awake and alert. Wake up, pay attention, see where the money's going. That is what long-term successful business people do. They look and listen and pay attention to the answers to these questions. And he gives us 4 questions that they pay attention to. The first question is they ask, what should be done, right? They're talking effectiveness. What are the things that I need to be doing? What should be done? The second one is, what will it generate? So now, not only am I looking at the activities that I need to do, what will it generate when it comes to revenue? I can only do the most effective things, especially during a shift. Then they ask, what will it cost and will it be profitable? So they're looking at it from a standpoint of return on investment. You got to look at it from that standpoint if you hope to be successful and not just blow your money. And look, again, I'm telling you what I know. I'm telling you what I did, right? We got to a point in our business where it wasn't about the fact that we wasn't making money or making money. It was we was making a boatload of money, but we still didn't have anything. We were still operating in the red and couldn't realize why. It's because of this right here, wasn't managing expenses. Now, Gary talks about leading with revenue, and he says that means you're either always working from a position of profitability. And remember, profitability is, yeah, you're making money. It's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep. So you're operating from a position of profitability, or if you're just getting started, you're working from a position of having enough revenue already on the books so you know exactly when profitability starts. All right? So that's what lead with revenue means. So just how we look at the pending board every week, that's Brooks and Davis leading from profitability. Right? Knowing how much revenue we have coming in, right? And knowing how much revenue we have coming in, and then every week we do our finance meeting. So every week we look at our company finances. Every week I look at my personal finances. Again, to manage expenses because that's what leads to prosperity. All right, so then protect your margin is an area that Gary talks about in the book. And again, protecting your margin, when he says margin, again, he's talking about profitability, your profit. Protect your profit, okay? It says you must reduce expenses to match your income plus an acceptable profit margin. Attack both variable and fixed expenses. So when you're looking at your expenses, like I said, I do it every week. I have a spreadsheet, and if y'all want to sit with me and y'all want to look at my spreadsheet, you want me to work with you on financial management, on some tools that you can utilize so you can be conscious of where the money is going, please take advantage of that. Because the reason that I've become an expert at it was because I got broke, right? And risked the doors being closed, my family being out on the street. When you run up into that brick wall, then it forces you to get serious and committed, right? So take advantage of it, all right? But every week, I have a spreadsheet that shows my forecasted income that's coming in for that week or when it falls out, my expenses, my bills that are fixed, as well as my fixed bills like mortgage, car note, all them the internet, them things come at the same time every month. They shouldn't be no surprise, all right? But also your variable expenses like eating out, which is the big deal in my house. We like to eat. So eating out, gas, things that are dependent on your quality of life, or they vary based on your quality of life. But you need to attack both of them in your business and your personal life, again, to protect your profit margin, all right? Gary also talks about getting your money smart again, right? And what does he mean by that? He takes some advice from one of the richest men in the world, Warren Buffett, right? And what Warren Buffett teaches is that the first step to financial recovery is to stop doing the wrong things, right? That's the first step to financial recovery. Stop doing the wrong things. What a lot of us are, we're not even paying attention to. We're not even asking ourselves, is it the right thing or is it the wrong thing for us to be doing? We're not even asking ourselves that, right? So we're starting off in the wrong spot. He says, define a benchmark dollar result you should expect from every dollar you spend, and until you get that result, don't spend any more. So what he means is look, if you're going to invest, because we got to look at it from an investing standpoint. If you're going to invest $30 on some online platform, then that online platform for $30 a month should give you 2 times, 3 times, 4 times the amount that you're spending for it to make sense. Again, remember, we're talking profitability. If you're spending $30 a month and it's just an expense and not an investment, then you might want to reconsider it. But again, remember, you got to put yourselves in a position to where you can determine, you can track it, you can measure these things that I'm spending money on. Am I getting a return on the money that I'm spending? You create that benchmark, and that's that benchmark that he's talking about. He also says you know what you're spending money on and what you're getting for it, right? You always want to operate from that place of being financially alert, knowing where you're spending your money and how it's coming back to you, how you're getting that return. You want to be putting your money where your priorities are, right? Once you identify, hey, this thing gives me the bigger bang for the buck, right? That may be for some people, that may be for sale by owners. For sale by owners, they're the most effective. They base it off of their closed transaction, right? So I've done closed transactions, sale by owners, boom. That may be it. For some people, it may be their circle of influence. They got a database, and that database is filled with people, and because of the database, it may be them going out for lunches, going out for dinners. That may be the best place that they should spend their dollars, because when they look at their closed transactions, it's a lot of referrals, it's a lot of friends, it's a lot of family. So that may be where they should spend their money, right? You want to be in control of your money instead of your money controlling you. That's a very bad, lonely place to be, is when you feel like your money is controlling you, all right? All right, so the last tactic, do more with less. That's the last one that we're going to look at today. I could probably get through it in about 10 minutes. Did the wrong thing. And then we'll be done. All right, so the last tactic that we're going to talk about has to do with leverage. Do more with less. So when you're in a shifted market, you want to get to the point to where you're doing more with less. Now he says when the market turns, it's time to work both smarter and harder. We want to work hard in the right things. I've kind of beat that horse to death, right? So we're talking about leverage now. It says it's time to evaluate which resources and services must stay or go. You got to start cutting some things, right? Something may be working, something may not be working. Well, as soon as you identify that something's not working, get rid of the expense, okay? It's time to consider effectiveness and efficiency. We talked about that. Now, market shift can be an opportunity to evaluate, upgrade, and top grade your business. You can also look at it from that standpoint. It gives you a reason to now evaluate what is working and what's not working, something that you probably wouldn't ordinarily do in a good market because you're too busy closing deals. Well, now when things slow down, now's the time to see what's working, what's not working, all right? One of the biggest things that he really points out is going when when a market shifts, then and as you're assessing things, you want to look at, well, what are those core things that got me to this point in the first place, right? Again, 4 questions. It talks about 4 questions that you want to ask yourself. What are my business priorities? What am I trying to accomplish? Is that to be a listing agent? Is that to be a buyer's agent? Is that to grow my database? Is that to do a certain amount of transactions? You know, what is important when it comes to my business? The second one is, when do they need to get done, right? So what are those activities when it comes to priorities? And I guess what he's saying, when it comes to business priorities, what are those activities that gives you the best return on investment of time and resources? And then when do they need to get done? When do those activities get done? And it also says, who is the best person to do them? So is it you, or is someone else? You have access to an assistant, a mentee, an intern. And then the last question is, how should they be done? How should those activities be done? So it's, what are my business priorities, or what are those activities that are critical to my business's success revenue-wise, right? We're not guessing. We're not pie in the sky. We're not being ambiguous. We're talking about the bottom line. What are the activities that lead to the greatest impact on your bottom line? When do they need to get done? Who is the best person to do them? And how should they be done? All right, so now, Gary talks about 6 core competencies of a business. I'm going to show you that here. It is a little hazy, but what Gary says, the 6 core competencies of a business, real estate business, is lead generate, capture, and convert to appointments, present to buyers and sellers and get agreements, show buyers and market sellers, write and negotiate contracts, coordinate the sale to closing, manage the money, right? Those are the 6 competencies that he pulls out in the book. I 100% co-sign with them. If you look at our Real to Success funnel, then you'll see that our Real to Success funnel is built around these areas, right? Manage the money, you know, is not on mine, but as you can see, when we talked about the second tactic, managing your money is extremely important on you surviving and on you thriving through a shifting market. Now it says the real mission is to get all of these done in order at the highest level possible with the least amount of resources. He's talking about these 6 core competencies of your business, getting them done in the highest level possible service with the least amount of resources. Okay, so that's efficiency, that's management. All right, now he also talks about people. So he brings in people into this whole conversation. And the one thing that I'm really going to pull out, I'm not going to spend a bunch of time with people, is because, you know, a lot of our agents are not to that point production-wise to where they need to be hiring people. And if you try to move into that vein too quick, it can become a distraction. So you want to make sure you have the systems in place and that you're operating, utilizing those systems at the highest priority before you try to introduce people to take those systems over for you. But what he does say is that no matter the circumstances, you only ever have one critical issue with people, and I agree with him. You only have one critical issue. You either have the right ones or the wrong ones. See, when it comes to people, it's about making sure that you get the right people on the bus. The book Good to Great, he wrote that in the book about making sure that you have the right people on the bus. He talked about organizations that have a lot of bureaucracy in them and a lot of red tape, a lot of guidelines and rules, is because they don't have the right people. If you have the right people in your organization, you won't need any of that stuff. So I agree with him wholeheartedly about the biggest issue is being able to identify and let the right people into your organization. All right, so now he also, after he speaks about people, he goes into systems. And that's where I'm going to spend the rest of my time because I feel like the systems come before the people. And you putting the right systems in place in your business is what's going to help you streamline and be more effective. I'm talking about this effectiveness. I'm talking about this efficiency, right? We're talking about doing the basics at the highest level possible with the least amount of resources. Well, that's going to require strong systems, all right? Now, he says when it comes to your systems, especially during in a shift, the goal now is to quickly reevaluate how things are done to see what works and what doesn't. All right? Again, we want to do more with less, and that means we have to make our approaches to things simpler. Right? Complexity kills. That's something that I had to realize, and I realized at a later part of my business life. Okay? Right now, we're in the process of cleaning things up in the office. I'm in the process of cleaning things up in my house. I've run across things that I had in 2004, 2003, 2006, 12, all these things that I've had in the past, and I'm able to see how things have changed within my own personal system of how I did this business. You know, I have checklists, you know, one-page checklists that it was originally a 6-page checklist, right? I have scripts and systems and books that I created, presentation books and the common theme that you'll see through my history of as I grew Brooks and Davis is things got simpler and simpler and simpler. And as things got simpler, success got, we were able to achieve more success through the simplicity of it. So I agree wholeheartedly, complexity kills. It says the key is to ask what exactly needs to be accomplished to hit your minimum goals of sales and service quality without any extra effort or expense. And then you build a system around that. What needs to be done to hit my minimum goals of sales or service? Now, how can we execute a task with less effort and expenses and still maintain high effectiveness? Now, that's another one of those questions you need to ask yourself. When you sit down and you assess your business and you assess your approach or strategy, how can I execute this task or whatever that task is? How can I execute it with the least amount of effort and expenses, but maintain quality and service? How can I do that? And that's something you need to ask yourself. Now, trying to do too much will cost you time and money. That's another thing that's so true. Focus is key. Is king. I'll say that. Being spread too thin, trying to accomplish too many things at once within a certain amount of time, you're not going to get it done. You're not going to be successful. And the quality of life, you're not going to enjoy it. So you got to get laser focused on, again, those basics, those priorities, and do those things at a high level. That's what's going to get you there. You got to specialize. All right. Now, your procedures must be lean and mean. No paperwork for paperwork's sake. No point in just having paperwork just to say you got paperwork. Everything should have a purpose. Everything must be extremely purposeful. It must be streamlined when it comes to how you're going to systematically deliver on your real estate business. You can't, I know that's one of the things that are challenging for salespeople is because you're not really left-brained. You're an action person. You're about, let's just jump out there, let's just get to work, right? What I'm talking about when it comes to systems is you have to think through it, and the whole goal is you want to look at it from two perspectives. One perspective is no point, if it's going to be a consistent activity, right? Like if you're going to meet with a buyer, well, there's not going to be a lot of variance with that in preparing for a buyer's appointment. You can create a system around that. Same thing with meeting with a seller, right? If you have a property for sale and you're adding it to the MLS, there's not a lot of variance around that, right? You should be able to create a system and be lean and mean around it to help you get to getting or achieving that activity or that task quickly. Now, the first thing is, again, so you can be consistent. The second thing is so you can get to the point to when you do introduce people into your organization to help you scale up, well, it's going to be easier for them to be able to take that over. Now, are they going to do it as good as you? No. And you have to be okay with that. But guess what? If you can get them to be 80% as good as you, then that frees you up to go be 100% good at something else. That's the whole point. So it has to be lean. Your systems have to be lean and mean. Now, the goal is to get right what you need to get right with as few steps and as few people doing it as possible. Now, if you're talking about really wanting to become successful in this business and be able to operate at a high level, and when I say high level, meaning a lot of money in the bank, then you got to get to the point to where you achieve that goal of getting right what you need to get right in this business when it comes to your real estate business. Getting that right with as few steps and as few people as possible. That's going to make your profit margin go from here to way out here. And having high profitability in your real estate business, now you living the good life. Now you get living a good life. But it's not easy, and it does take strategy, technology, psychology, all of these things to help you achieve that. And guess what? Brooks and Davis, we're here to help you, coach you through that. It also takes a coach, right? A coach to help guide you through it. And that's what we are. We're your personal coach to help you get all of this stuff. I know it's a lot of information as we're going through this book. It's a lot, but we're here to help you connect the dots and apply what needs to be applied for you personally. All right, with that being said, we're at that 1 hour mark. You guys made it through. We've talked about the first 3 tactics of how to handle a shift. Now, next week, we're going to jump into how to find motivated people with real estate needs when times are tough and getting them to the table. What we're going to see next week is that, and it's about 86 pages that we're going to be trying to go through the next couple of weeks, but we're going to talk about the level of difficulty it is in a shift to find or identify motivated people, and where does motivation really fit when inside of a shift as it comes to customers. So that's what we're going to look at next week. With that being said, you guys have any questions, any comments? What did you think about today's session? Don't be shy. Who gonna tell me? Who gonna tell me what they thought? Anybody on mute? Margaret thumbs me up. Rick, you good? Good info? Y'all can talk. Is y'all microphone not working? Margaret, your microphone working? No, your microphone ain't working. Rick, your microphone working? I can hear y'all earlier. All right, your microphone work. Margaret, your microphone don't work. Oh, the teacher said she had her desk. All right, I understand. But good info. All right, awesome. No, Margaret, we can't hear you. We had to work through that. We're going to have to work through that thing. But look, all right, so you guys are good. If y'all have any questions, you know where to find me. Schedule the appointment. Do some coaching sessions. Schedule the appointment. We knock those out. If you got some time around 3:30 or 6:30, come hang out with me at, like I said, I'm going to be showcasing the coaching piece. And come on Saturday, our takeover. We're going to take over Gary W. Brooks's Vision Board Party. So with that being said, we go ahead and give up, and we're going to get up out of this place. Thank you once again for coming in for the Create Your New Life session. We're talking about shifting markets. If you're checking us out on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can get the notifications of we post at least once a week, if not multiple times. So check that out. If you're interested, again, you like what you heard me say about our one-on-one coaching, about us putting people in position to be successful in real estate through our real estate coaching, either call this number or go to the link that I showed earlier. I'm actually going to put that link in the body of the video on YouTube. Letitia's telling me she's coming down. She's coming down to Houston this weekend for the Vision Board Party. So we're going to be excited about that. Again, this is Michael Davis, CEO, broker, Brooks & Davis Real Estate Firm, coaching you to the cosmos. Let's take off, baby. We talk to you guys later.